What's exciting about mobile is it provides global reach, and regardless what your globe is, the entire planet or the entire nation or an entire city, it provides you that all-encompassing reach, but then it gives you local relevance. And so you see that in being embraced by major brands. So you have major brands like a Coca-Cola or the advertising networks like an InMobi or Millennial Media that are using mobile to reach globally. But then you have enablers like Point and Wehrs and the hyper-local marketing players that are now allowing the local pizza shop to embrace and engage mobile and really and interact with their customer at that local level. I mean, Google has a great quote the other day that says 1 in 3 searches, for instance, are based on local intent.
Right.
So the ability for the local business to embrace mobile, but then the global and national businesses to do so as well. And barcodes, for example, are a great way of enabling that type of local engagement.
Yeah, and I think also what we've seen is a significant amount of data that's been released that proves it out. So you don't have to be able to invest millions of dollars to participate in effective mobile marketing campaigns. You can do it as a local mom and pop shop. You can do it as a small set of chains. And certainly the larger brands that are looking to have customer loyalty programs, integration with CRM, all of that is now possible too. But we've got the data to back it up and say, look, when someone did a campaign like this, when it was integrated with their other work, here's the kind of uplift that they can expect to see. And there's enough data to show small companies that it's worth the investment. So we're seeing it on both sides.
Just to add to what Mike was saying, we did an A/B test recently with a small retailer. They found a 10-to-1 redemption rate on a local coupon for mobile versus digital. Pretty staggering. And as Mike said, the cost of entry is fairly low. So you see local mom and pop businesses that could never do a TV spot, could never do a radio spot, who are saying, you know what, my print advertising is not really working. How about I switch to mobile? And they see quick ROI, and that's what's helping to lead really the massive growth in our industry.
But we do think that the acceleration of the space will come from the big advertisers. The big money is still spent by the big ones, and they also own the big databases. The fact that you combine local with global for them is fantastic. And this is where also the small mom and pops will come in and accelerate that adoption. But we do think that the bigger ones would be the ones to drive this industry to the billions of dollars that people anticipated to produce in advertising value.
And one thing when we think about local marketing, I think it's more about consumer engagement and the relationship it can have at every stage of the customer lifecycle. So when you're thinking about mobile, for instance, the Coca-Cola company puts a text messaging code on every one of their 20-ounce bottles and on their packaging. That's national marketing, but it provides local engagement. And so it's really a combination of the two, and the ability for the brand or the marketer, regardless how large or small they are, to have that intimate engagement with their consumer at any stage of that customer's journey and the stage that they are within the brand's life cycle.
And just to finish up what Michael's saying, it provides that instant redemption, right? So you've got that engagement, but you can actually walk across the street to redeem that code.
Well, and to that point, I mean, there's a really interesting analogy that we need to recognize is that while mobile, for instance, in the engagement aspect, you'll certainly have through any of the 8 mobile media paths the ability to engage a consumer directly through mobile, but we're also seeing the mobile influenced engagement, where mobile is driving me into retail, and then at retail or at point of sale, I can learn more about the product, I can get more engaged with the product, and then use the traditional environments to, for instance, purchase or work with the brands.
The tie-in with identification and then loyalty program is enormous. Any of the larger brands, that's one of the first sets of questions we'll go down is, okay, great, we can get this engagement, we can get someone to opt in. How can I make sure that I know that that person is in my store at this time, or that person is in my online store, so that I can push more relevant information, so I can be more targeted based on their past searching patterns, past purchase behavior. So they're looking for that as the incremental component of it. And mobile's one of those things that just really makes it much, much easier to do that integration.
The real power of mobile is actually beyond branding. At least in our opinion, it's the ability to engage, transact, convert people on a one-to-one basis. People do not, for example, like to see banner ads on their phones. It's not very effective. Mobile phones, as you said before, are very personal devices. I will go to a gym and put my wedding ring in the closet and take my phone with me. Actually, I didn't bring it at all, but anyway. It's very personal. In that case, we have very limited options to actually transact with customers. And if you do it correctly, the local aspect, gamification is another element that goes with mobile. promotions, the offers, you can actually close the transaction on the phone, not necessarily in the retail environment, which is a good place, but actually on the phone buying content or services or any other virtual goods, which is another big market for mobile marketing to go into. So.
One of the things I see, I wrote an article, there's a great natural phenomenon in the Amazon called meeting of waters, where the Amazon River meets with the Rio Negre. And what's really fascinating about this phenomenon is when the two rivers meet, because of their temperatures, their speeds, their densities, etc., are different. When the two rivers meet, they don't actually merge, and they actually don't merge for 4 miles. So you have two rivers living in the same riverbed for 4 miles. The exact same thing's happening in marketing. You have digital marketing and traditional marketing coexisting in the same riverbed. So for the challenge for marketers is how do you rationalize these different practices of marketing? And the unified connector of the practices, because mobile lives on both digital and in the traditional environment, is mobile. And so what we're going to start seeing is a unified, more, and as the metrics and other players, and as what these guys are enabling through their capabilities, mobile will bring those practices back together, cut through the silos within the marketing departments, within organizations, and we'll really get that 360 view of the consumer through mobile. So it's going to take some time, and there's still some tools and some innovations that are needed, but mobile is that key unifier that's going to tie it all back together.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with Michael more on this one. What we're seeing is, let me just be really, really direct about it. It's on a traditional piece of media, someone does a print ad, the incremental cost to add a line that says text to this number or to put a QR code on that is near zero, right? In the history of human life, we've not found a cheaper way other than ink to communicate. And that piece of ink, that little diagram or that little set of words creates the bridge into the digital world. So you can take this traditional media and just through that brings them into an engaged digital experience. And that is such a powerful concept on how you tie the two worlds back together again and leverage them to maximum effect.